Hello, and welcome back to another development log. I know I said last week that I would be working on more advanced AI tactics, but sometime during the this past week, it occurred to me we're we were planning on making an MMO, but none of us have any capacity to run the server. I understand that the seed concept was supposed to lessen the strain on the server, but then there's power consumption and network consumption, and there's a bunch of unseen caps that hadn't occurred to any of us before. This does not mean that we are stopping development. This simply means that we're shifting development in a different direction. Whereas Seed had originally been planned to be an MMO, it's now looking in the direction of being a standalone game that you can play single player and with other people. I still would like to work in some sort of account system for anti-cheating, but it won't connect to a master game server to get it to work. Over the past couple days, I've been fiddling with a bunch of systems. I tried an email automatic response system, and it broke and sent me a couple hundred emails over the course of the middle of the night, and then threw an error saying I used too much server time, and yeah, script got shut down. So that didn't work. Recently I was fiddling with, well, this in general, Google Sheets and the scripts. This seems like this might be a viable alternative to the email method and is instantaneous. The only issue with it so far is I have not been able to prove whether or not it works without being signed into this account. I know I could sign out, but then I can't see the changes. I need someone else to create an account information into the script and see what happens. I'll see if I can get someone to do that in the next week and test that out a bit further. Due to that, I have not got around to working much in the AI. I have made a couple changes, so they work a little bit better now, but it's not enough to warrant showing, and I think I'd rather hold off on that until next week, when I can add in a bit more logic and make them function better than they already do. I will mention what I've done, though. So, the slimes now have the ability to run. They've always had it, but it simply toggled and it never actually functioned, but now they run under certain circumstances. The home at which they travel in is also no longer stationary, as in, if it moves, they don't move. They're not parented to it, which allows the placement of these homes wherever in the map, and also allows the possibility of sticking a home around a moving object, such as a player. I still have not quite figured out how summons will work. I'm guessing they might just fall into a formation around the player, which might be fine. I'll look into that coming up. I think I might do formation-based and then just near the player, and a bunch of settings for this. Though I'm debating making the amount of settings relative to how stubborn the AI you're summoning is. If it's stubborn about certain things, those options might not be selectable, just to make the experience a bit more interesting. Though, if that proves to be problematic, I will certainly get rid of the system, but it's a theoretical possibility for now. I realize this was a quick log this week, but I don't really have much else to say because, well, I've been doing a lot of theoretical stuff instead of anything concrete. Over the next week, though, I do plan to get back into working on the game. It's just, once it occurred to me that this probably wasn't going to work the way we were planning it, I had to go back and change the system. And I had to look into ways to change it, because if I don't, I'm going to build up the game on the old system, and then I'm going to have to disassemble it and rebuild it again. I figured might as well take a week thinking it through and then fixing it the right way before I get too far in. I'm not particularly sure how a lot of the features will work, but I can say that I can say for sure that it won't be massively online. That much is certain. I don't intend to put a player limit on a host. So like if someone runs the server, sure, they can connect with like 30, 40, 50 people and play however they want, but there won't be an official server capable of holding 2,000 people. If someone else wants to host a private server capable of holding 2,000 people, that would be perfectly fine too. It's the limit of players is simply going to be based on hardware capacity. If the computer can't handle it, then it might not be the best idea to select it, but there really isn't a limit. So I guess the way this system would sort of work would be something like, I guess the best example would be something like Borderlands. You can play it alone, or you can join other players or have them join you in your game. Although, it might be more open world than that, and I'm not sure yet how the maps will work. I'm still working on the system. Unity networking is a bit weird for me, so I don't know how spawning and despawning of objects will actually work when it involves multiple players across a connection. Of course, the host will be able to spawn and despawn at will, but I'm not sure about other players, especially since respawning an object breaks its network connection, and it's considered a unique object in both client and server, and things get kind of weird. But I will certainly be looking into that within the coming weeks, or at least within the coming months. It depends how long this system takes to modify, but it is on my mind. I don't really think I have anything else to say for this week. I don't have anything to show, as I said before. I haven't made any changes worth noting. But next week, I do plan on getting something out that has some concrete updates. It's just this week I had to spend a decent chunk of the time I had to work on this, on setting up a new connection system. And if it works, it might prove even better than the one that we had before, which was even then kind of iffy. So, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again next week.